It has been a while, but I was thinking of some things this morning as I was driving to work, and I thought, here's what I would like very much for you to see. There's only one being in the universe who's being tested, and that's God. I know you think God is testing you, because that's the idea of religion. A couple things about that. First off, you couldn't pass any test. And if you don't realize that, you just don't understand yourself at all. Which is kind of interesting, because the entire Bible, everything in Scripture, as it relates to you, mankind, shows that we are completely and totally insufficient. And yet, everything you do, everything, the way you see things, especially as Christians, makes it seem like you can do something. The second part of that is there is no testing. Testing indicates that the proctor of the test is trying to figure out what you know or what you can do. God already knows that. Now, He may show you how weak you are, for sure. He does that. But that's not a test in the sense of test, because He already knows. It's just to show you. But you're not being tested from the standpoint of He's testing you so He can determine where you're going to fall in the hierarchy of rewards, or you're going to get to go to heaven, or whatever it is. It's like in Scripture when the Israelites went through the wilderness for the 40 years. And they get done, and God says that they were testing Him. See, we all have the idea that it was the other way around, that He was testing them during that 40 years. No. The test is, can God do what He has set out to do? He can. You just don't understand what He set out to do. And you're brainwashed by religion into thinking a certain way about things. And they're just not right. Again, I've said in many videos, God's plan is being accomplished through ages. And when this is all done, God's creation is going to be a complete, perfect reflection of who He is, what His attributes are, and what He can do. Now, I'm going to add to that with this other point. Once God's grace made its appearance, and I'm thinking of the biggest word for appearance. Once it entered the scene through the message of the risen Christ to the Apostle Paul, once grace enters, that should change how you see everything. The problem is you don't really understand what grace is. You don't understand the extent. And I promise you, I don't even understand the extent of it. But the natural and obvious conclusion of grace is the salvation of all. It's an obvious conclusion. Once you understand what grace is, and I'll find these verses at some point, but when Jesus was on the earth, it says, Scripture says that the Pharisees hated him gratuitously. Means without a cause. And that same word gratuitously is used in Romans when it talks about us being justified, that we are justified gratuitously, without a cause. You're trying to present some cause to God to let you in heaven or to do good to you, whatever. Grace does it gratuitously, without a cause. The cause is in Him. It's not in you. The other thing, and again, the obvious, and this is why so many people who teach grace, they teach the grace message, but they can't see the obvious conclusion, the obvious and natural conclusion of grace. Wow. That's why when they teach, they all have some ridiculous doctrines that just, it's like being brilliant for 5 minutes and then being completely without a clue for the rest of the time. That's what grace teachers are like. They're way beyond Christianity, but they are so many millions of miles short. The other thing, the other word that I wish you could wrap your mind around is agape love. It's God's love. It's unconditional love, but that's kind of an impotent word. To define it. Agape love, yes, it's unconditional, but it loves you far too much to leave you as you are. It's going to take you to your highest and best. It's just, I think you sell grace short, way short. You're not even in the same galaxy of grace, and you sell agape love short. And once you see these things, gosh, everything just opens up so easily and perfectly. Now again, the plan is the plan, and we may or may not like it. Certainly not going to like every aspect of it. But you can rest in the fact that God is God. And I say it all the time, and I've said it in all the videos, but I wish you could just recognize God as God. And in all that means, quit diminishing God and quit elevating yourself, because you can't be elevated. You can't do anything that elevates yourself. The only thing you can do, and this is what people try to do, you can be better than me. You can act more morally than me or whatever. And you think that that helps you somehow. No, it has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with it. And you can see that by the people God uses. I tell you all the time, study the Bible characters. Quit listening to your preacher preach certain scripture passages and read the Bible characters and see how God deals with them. See what the Bible characters are truly like. So there's only one being tested, and that's God. You couldn't pass a test. And if you think you can, you don't know yourself. Secondly, the obvious and natural outcome of grace is the salvation of all, and is God's creation being a perfect reflection of who He is and what He's like. And agape love, God's love, will take you everywhere you could go. Because there's a power in that kind of love. Transcendent grace of God. I'm going to start putting this in every video. This is the gospel. The transcendent grace of God. The finished work of Jesus Christ. The reconciliation of man to God. And the salvation of all. If you're not teaching those things, you're not teaching grace. I mean, you're not teaching the gospel. Well, you're certainly not teaching grace, but you're not teaching the gospel. My guess is you're not going to run into anybody who knows the gospel, because that's the true gospel for today. I love you all.